It's the Unhappy Hour.
Broadcasting to you live from the Milky Way Galaxy, the solar system, planet Earth, North America, the United States of America, California, Los Angeles to be specific. Hello everybody and welcome to another episode of the Unhappy Hour here on the TNAM Radio Network at thenewamericanmedia.com. My name is Brian Engelman and I'm going to be your host as I have been for 40% of a decade already. That's 4 years if you're trying to do the math out there. And I appreciate each and every one of you checking this out. It's a very special episode of the Unhappy Hour because the Cleveland Cavaliers have demolished the Atlanta Hawks. The Atlanta Hawks, who had the number 1 seed and the best record going into the Eastern Conference playoffs. And here we are, we took them out, and some people are saying that we're even playing better without Kevin Love. That doesn't mean we're a better team without Kevin Love, but we might be playing better without Kevin Love right now. So it goes to show, Dellavedova doesn't have a chance to shine unless Kyrie gets hurt. Tristan Thompson and J.R. Smith don't get as many minutes unless Kevin Love goes down. So, I mean, you never know. Who would have thought that Cardale Jones would win a title for the Ohio State Buckeyes last year after J.T. Barrett went down, after Braxton Miller went down? So it's been a really interesting ride. It's been fantastic to be a part of. And, you know, there's a bit of a greater narrative to this situation, and it's what it means to be a Cleveland sports fan. You know, we've been seeing the statistics that it's been 143 seasons collectively between the Cavaliers, Indians, and the Browns since somebody has won a title, and that's 1964. So I wanted to bring in Zak Baris today. No surprise if you're a regular listener to the show. But Zak being a Clevelander, such as myself, I wanted to talk with you, Zak, about what this already means that LeBron decided to come back and what it would mean for LeBron James and this Cleveland Cavaliers team to bring home a title for this city, what it would mean for the whole region.
Honestly, it would mean more than anything. I mean, you know as a Clevelander what it would mean. I mean, like I said, I've experienced 2 Ohio State football titles in my life. I've never experienced a personal Cleveland title, which I think would be much different. As much as I love the Buckeyes, it's still not Cleveland. You know, it's college. Getting on the professional level, I love nothing more than a Cleveland championship. You know, I live for Cleveland sports. I die for Cleveland sports. You know, it's how it is. You know, that's how a good Cleveland fan is. You know, we're loyal to the Browns, we're loyal to the Cavs, and we're loyal to the Tribe. It's just, you know, that's what it is being a Clevelander. You know, people can rip us all they want. I don't care. You know, it bothers me sometimes. You know, I have friends calling me up still, going, you know, the national media is not giving us any credit for beating the Hawks, you know, because a guy like, you know, let's just take, for instance, Nate Duncan, who's a native Chicagoan and also writes for the Golden State Warriors. Can't blame the guy for being a little bitter after the Chicago series, but he's talking about how Kyle Korver's out, you know, DeMarre Carroll's on one leg, and trust me, I watched DeMarre Carroll last night. He was running up and down the floor on 2 legs. Not one.
He surprised the hell out of me. Kyrie had to sit out a few games, but DeMarre Carroll is just like, I'm a little sore.
Not playing. I'm like, okay, well, let's take a comparison. I'd take Anderson Varejao any day over Thabo Sefolosha. I'd take Kevin Love any day over Kyle Korver, and Kyrie Irving any day over DeMarre Carroll. So I think our injuries were a little bit more, I think they were a little worse than the Hawks. Let's just put it that way. You're losing, according to ESPN going into the season, this year losing 2 of the top 15 players in the NBA, and Varejao is a top 100 player too.
That is crazy.
When healthy. So think about that for a minute. You know, it's very reminiscent of the Ohio State football season. I know I shouldn't be comparing the two, but you know,
it's all right.
Like
I started off doing it.
Sounds like every time someone went down for Ohio State, they got better, and it seems like the same way for the Cavs. They found their groove. David Blatt's an unbelievable job at the rotation. Their defense is unbelievable, and it's amazing to think a patchwork trade of 3 complementary pieces. What I told you when they made that trade, they shored up all their holes off of getting rid of Dion Waiters, who's a team cancer, like I've been preaching now for the last 3 years. And not only did you got rid of Dion Waiters, who's a team cancer, you wound up adding 2 great perimeter defenders on the wing and a center who gave you the interior, you know, to shore up the interior defense. And offensively. So the Cavaliers plugged all their holes off of a patchwork trade sheeting Dion Waiters and 2 first-round picks to be in the championship. I don't think they would have even gotten out of the second round of the playoffs, honestly, if they still had the same roster. I don't even know if they would have gotten out of the first round.
It's so weird to think about just how bad this team was at the beginning of the season. If we can remember back, they were so bad. They were damn near unwatchable.
There were games I didn't go to because I'm like, I can't. Like I said, it wasn't that I didn't want to watch them. I still watched them on TV. There were games I just said, LeBron's not playing for these 2 weeks. It's, they are, like you said, damn near unwatchable. I was frustrated, and I said, I'll still watch them on TV, but I don't want to sit here and waste my whole Sunday afternoon, or Saturday afternoon in December watching the Cavs at the arena because it was so painful to watch because you knew their potential. And I was, I hated guys like Dion Waiters. I couldn't stand him. And it had been something that had just been driving me crazy. And I was like, you know what? I can't. I just can't. I can't be at the Cavs game every day. And then as soon as the trade happened, I was like, I need to be here every day. This is great. This is all I wanted.
Right.
And, David Griffin deserves to be the executive of the year. And David Blatt just beat the coach of the year in 4 games.
It's very interesting that there's going to be a rookie head coach winning the title, either David Blatt or, well, I guess we're getting ahead of ourselves. The Rockets have a chance. We'll get to the Rockets in a moment, but I want to talk about David Blatt a little bit. Talk about the rotation because, when you talk about great coaching performances, you have to just kind of imagine if it's not specific X's and O's, wow, what a great game plan. They shut down that wide receiver. Or, hey, they held Dwight Howard to 6 rebounds all game. Whatever sport it is, people don't usually think about losing 2 of their 3 best players in the middle of a playoff run and then having to find a way to make that work without making excuses. And that's what David Blatt just did, and it's incredible. I wish they would give out the Coach of the Year award after you get to see something like this, because I'm really impressed.
They have a phenomenal coaching staff as it is, though. I mean, you have guys with head coaching experience, guys like Larry Drew. You have, Brett Bromeyer, who's with the San Antonio Spurs. You do have a very good coaching staff on your hands, which allows, for success. And it's all about teamwork. It goes as far as the head coach, and it goes as far as the last assistant on that staff. And you got to give the Cleveland Cavaliers scouts credit, too, for the advanced scouting job they did on the Hawks, to be able to do what they did to Atlanta and dismantle them in 4 games for a team that won 60 games. And Korver was healthy for the first game and a half, and the Cavaliers were beating the crap out.
Well, explain what you saw.
Same thing with Damari Carroll.
Right. Yeah,
So,
I mean,
like I said earlier, like I said, I think Golden State's a great team. I think Houston's a great team. But with the way the Cavaliers are playing right now, nobody has this experience that LeBron James has right now on either one of these teams. Either one of them. LeBron is still LeBron for a reason. And, as much as I thought, like, in parts of the time of the season, I go, LeBron just is, I don't know if he's in his prime anymore. I think he's fading a little bit. I said that to myself personally, never publicly. After watching the last couple series, he was clearly hurt in the Chicago series. He clearly was. And, and played through the pain, and they still beat the Bulls. And then look what he did to the Hawks. I mean, historically, one of the best series ever.
And a sweep. It's funny because Facebook has a way of pouncing back stories from a week ago or 2 weeks ago when people start seeing it and re-commenting. But I said, you can go back and check the videotape. I said if the Cavs can get Game 1 against Atlanta, this is going to be a sweep. And I heard people, it's going to be 5 or 6 or 7.
I just didn't want to get ahead of myself saying it. I thought sweep the whole time. I just didn't say it because I didn't want to sit there and act cocky. When I was like, okay, it's still a 60-win team. I expect to win this in 5. I expect Atlanta to take Game 2 at home. I really do. And, the Cavaliers blew them out of the water. And then Game 3, I was like, okay. I was like, if the Cavaliers, and I was at Game 3. I was like, if the
3 was a little uncomfortable. That was a little uncomfortable.
It was very uncomfortable. I was very uncomfortable at that game. I was like, oh, God. I was like, please do not lose this tonight. Because then Game 4 becomes a must-win.
Uh-huh. Yeah, that's not fun. That's
you don't want to go back to Atlanta 2-2.
No, you don't.
Because suddenly you give back home court advantage and you lose everything you just had. You lose all the momentum. And, they were able to stick it out, gut it out. And it's a good coaching performance. Blatt stuck with Tristan Thompson with 5 fouls in overtime rather than going back to Mozgov, who hadn't played a good game. He really did his due diligence. And, he stuck with what was working. Dellavedova's played huge minutes in the series, been fantastic defensively. I don't even know what more I can say about him.
Is he dirty or not dirty? You can say that again.
I don't think he's dirty. I really don't. I'd be the first one to admit it if he was. I think the one semi-dirty play, and I wouldn't even – Gibson been elbowing him all game, was the leg lock. Which he did, yeah, and he got called for a technical for it afterwards. So,
Yeah, that was just a goofy little moment. That wasn't
was
dirty, and he had gotten steamrolled in the back by Taj Gibson, completely flattened to the ground. That wasn't called a foul.
Yeah,
that was
exactly.
way worse.
And on the Korver play, he was diving for the ball. He really was just diving for the ball. I didn't see anything malicious about it.
Zach, that he's just a reckless player is the new thing they say.
That's the reason
He's
that Varys
reckless.
always gets hurt, because he's so reckless. These guys are just reckless guys, and when you look at the reckless players, they don't have a great track record of staying healthy. Because they're not necessarily the most talented guys in the league, but they're the most physical, and they're the ones who get in there and annoy
but
you.
you saw with Dwayne Wade and Derrick Rose, their style of play was kind of reckless. And it kind of took their toll on their career.
Body takes so many hits.
Exactly.
You go down, you eventually go down. It happens. But I didn't see, and by the way, the Horford play, I was at the game, that was as dirty as can be.
That was horrible. All the replays, the zoom in. I mean, he changed direction to drop down on him. And it's just insane.
All I'm going to say is this. Who cares what the national media says, really? I don't care anymore. I've given to the point where I don't care.
Yeah.
I've unfollowed all the toxic people. I don't need any of that. I don't care what happens. If the Cavaliers win, I don't care what the national media says. I don't care what Skip Bayless. I don't care what Stephen A. says. They're meaningless. They're garbage. They're trash. Just remember that as a fan. Those guys are trash. They're there for entertainment purposes only. And when I say that, don't forget, as right as always Brian Windhurst thinks he is, don't forget this is the guy who supposedly was in LeBron's inner circle, didn't even know the guy was coming back.
You and I knew that.
Well, I have different sources, so
yes,
my sources
you do.
are different than it.
Yes, you do, and it just goes to show. The whole back and forth narrative over Delhi is just absolutely ridiculous. When you're getting your ass whooped and then you get cheap shotted, and that was the thing. I'm not saying he's dirty. I'm just saying he's reckless. So by saying that, you've already put the word dirty out there, and that is exactly what you're implying. But I found it interesting. Right at the day after, that was when Steph Curry went up in the air, just did a complete somersault and smacked his head and got a concussion or whatever they actually ended up calling that. And if the side by side of what you call reckless is interesting, because nobody in that national media was calling Steph Curry reckless.
That was a reckless play. What he did,
no,
it was reckless.
Absolutely it was.
It wasn't, like I said, it wasn't dirty. It wasn't dirty by Terrence Jones. It just happened to be a reckless play. You got to be very careful when diving over someone. He's incredibly lucky he's playing right now in that Golden State, because without him, Golden State season would be over.
Yeah, and he came back and shot an air ball. Go figure. I wanted to get back to something you mentioned on. You said that the Cavs did a really good job scouting, because that was in your former life. You were an NBA scout, and in your current life, you can be followed on Twitter at Zak Baris. That's ZBARIS. So when you watched the Cavs kind of dismantle the 60-win team, as a scout,
quick, I apologize. There was Trevor Ariza on the play the other night, not Terrence Jones.
Oh, Trevor Ariza.
I'm pretty sure it was Trevor Ariza. Yeah.
Okay.
Corrected myself.
I was just getting at when you watch the Cavs do what they did as a scout. What did you see to make you believe that it was because of the advanced scouting that they were able to have a good game plan?
Just like I said, they knew the Hawks. They had a great game plan from the start. They came out there firing. They came out. They have poor first quarters. It's a lot of the adjustments that they make. They know what kind of in-game adjustments Atlanta was going to make. They know what kind of shots they're going to take. They know what rotations to play. It's all due to a lot of it's due to advanced scouting. When you scout a team, you know what the rotation is going to be. You determine your rotation out of that. That's what goes into it. And I have to say, the Cavaliers, the team of advanced scouts, did a hell of a job on this. Did a hell of a job throughout the playoffs. Boston, I totally expected them to beat Boston with 4. I never wavered that.
Yeah, I was.
Like I said, even after Love went down, I didn't have all the confidence in the world, but I was still pretty sure they were going to beat Chicago. I wasn't 100% sure like I was with Boston. And this series is about 95% sure after they beat Chicago in the last 3 games and beat them pretty easily. And, Atlanta had their issues. I was never really too concerned. So, and the Cavaliers played terribly in the first half of game 1. And if you notice, Mike Budenholzer was the coach of the year. Who came out there and won the second half in every single game of that series? The Cleveland Cavaliers.
And that's because of the adjustments they make at halftime, looking at video and whatnot.
That's just good coaching. It's good coaching. Halftime adjustments. You evaluate the first half, what went wrong, what you can do better. how you can adjust to play them. What can you do to stop the three? What can you do to stop Al Horford from taking, how can you minimize Al Horford's 12-foot jump shot, that he keeps taking and making? What can you do to stop that? What kind of lineup can I go with? And, like I said, David Blatt deserves all the credit in the world. He doesn't get enough credit. And like I said, I wish he did, but he doesn't. It is what it is. He's a fantastic coach, and he's 4 games away from winning his first championship and being a rookie head coach to do it. And like I said, if the Cavaliers win this year, it's going to be the start of a massive dynasty in Cleveland.
Yeah, that dynasty's looking interesting now. Your thoughts on Kevin Love?
My thoughts on Love haven't changed. Like I said, I think there are plenty of options out there. I tend to think Kevin will stay. I really do. I'd be shocked if he left. And like I said, Jared Dudley was a guy who always trained in Vegas in the summertime. Is always, his comments say that nobody wants to play with Kobe Bryant. I think are a little true. I like what he said today. I'm glad he had the balls to say it.
They put him on the hot seat They put him on the hot seat with a lot of current players, and he was
the same thing what he said about Melo. I give the guy a lot of credit for being able to say it because most guys won't say that.
Yeah, they'll him and haw, and I don't know.
But the fact that, I agree with him with the Melo. I've been saying that for years. It's nice to hear someone else say it because you don't see Melo you never see Melo getting bashed over, how bad his teams are.
He just doesn't play the right way.
He should never be discussed to be in the same league as LeBron.
No, the Cavs are so lucky they didn't get Melo instead. That would have changed everything the wrong direction for a long time.
It would have. It would have. And, the Cavaliers are in a great spot right now. And looking back on these last 4 years, like you said, like we talked about, maybe it was for the best because you would have never been able to assemble this roster. You've never had a guy like Kyrie playing alongside LeBron. I couldn't tell you, maybe LeBron would have played those next. He would have signed a 2-year deal in Cleveland, realized he couldn't win it and left. And never spent his peak years in Cleveland after that. So, fortunate to be where we're at now. And like I said, I'll take it. If you would have told me, 4 years ago that LeBron was going to leave, I would have been devastated. I was devastated when he left. But, like I said, everything worked out. He's a more mature player. And like I said, these guys are better because of LeBron. Look at Tristan. Look at Delly. Even Kyrie, came in rolling last night. You knew in the first quarter it was over when Kyrie was making his shots. You're like, okay, it's over. I knew it was over in the first quarter.
Yeah, the first quarter.
What
do you have, 8 points?
Of the game.
Yeah, it's like,
it was over in the first 4 minutes of the game. Kyrie's making a shot.
I liked when Kyrie went down and then he kind of paused for a second, then popped back up. I'm like, oh, good. He needs to get hit. Like, he needs to learn that his body can do this if indeed he's healthy enough to do it. Because
I said it was over immediately. And by the way, Iman Shumpert has been so good. So good. He's draining everything. I mean, he's turning into such a complete player. He's going to make himself a lot of money this offseason. I tend to think you'll see the core of this guy. I think you'll see the main core of this team all back in Cleveland next year because I think it's a group of guys who really, really like playing with each other. And they have really, really good chemistry. And this isn't something you see every day. I mean, don't forget, this team was 19-20. And after the trade, they are 46-11 in their past 57 games. And don't forget, they tanked a couple of those games at the end of the season, too.
Oh, that's right, yeah.
46-11. Don't forget, you get them clicking on all cylinders and they're playing more. Don't forget they had the Phoenix loss right when LeBron came back. They had a couple losses. This team could have easily been, this team could have been 50-7 or 51-6.
So
very well, if this core comes back next year, you could easily see them winning 70 games. I could totally see it, although I see LeBron getting a lot of reps.
Yeah, and I'm okay with LeBron getting a lot of rest, but more importantly, I see this team, competing to be one of the best regular seasons in the history of basketball. I just had that feeling so many times over the past maybe 2 months, watching this team going, oh my, this is going to be frightening with the full off season and getting healthy again. Now let me ask you about the salary cap. Like if the cap's wherever it is, it's going to go up. We know that. But does it work as simply as if we want to re-sign every guy on our team for a lot more money, we can because they're already here? We just can't go out and get new money?
Yeah. Well, I mean, the thing is, you're still going to be able to make a move to get rid of Haywood's contract. There are things you can do to manipulate the salary cap. That's always possible. But, yeah, they can retain all their free agents. They're going to be high up in the luxury tax. I don't think Dan Gilbert cares. I really don't. I think titles mean the most. Gilbert's floating in cash. Don't forget he's 5 times richer than when he bought the team in 2004.
Wow.
The guy's worth billions of dollars now. Quicken Loans make money. He's making a ton of money in real estate, his casinos. He's making a lot of money right now. He did not have this kind of money when he first started. So, like I said, he's never had an issue with spending, and I think in order to keep LeBron happy, he needs to spend the money.
Yeah.
He's learned that. So I'm not worried. David Griffin has a lot to work with. They're going to pay Tristan Thompson. I'm not worried about it.
But did you find it weird that LeBron did not mention Kevin Love, like when they're celebrating with the fans or in the immediate aftermath when he's talking about the battles?
No, I think people take too much into it. Celebrate with the guys he won with. Kevin was there. I don't think it's a big deal.
Well, because he was asked, and he said, I'd like to see Tristan here for life. I'd like to see him play as a Cavalier for life.
They didn't say, what do you think about Kevin Love? And I think Kevin Love now is expendable now. If you want to work a sign and trade with Kevin and you want to bring in someone else, you can do it.
Who would be a good complement to this team, do you think?
Like I said, I think a great fit for both teams would be a Cavs Bulls swap. If you can get it done in some capacity, it would be Jimmy Butler for Kevin Love. And I'll tell you why. Chicago would love an offensive player like Kevin Love who can stretch the floor with Derrick Rose. They need the offense. It gets them into a new turning point without Thibodeau there. The Cavaliers would be the best defensive team in the league.
Is Jimmy Butler the kind of guy that would fall in line underneath LeBron?
I believe so.
Yeah, because I'm not familiar with his personality. Yeah, and I found it interesting too when people were comparing Dellavedova to Joakim Noah. If he's on your team, you love him. If you play against him, you hate him. I'm like, I don't know. Maybe there's some truth to that. But I mean, seriously, it'd be very unlikely to see the Cavs and Bulls work a trade being in the same conference and all, wouldn't it?
Yeah, but I mean, the conference doesn't matter. It's the divisions. And the thing is,
division,
if I'm Chicago,
right.
I look at it and I go, well, I don't want to make Cleveland better, but if it makes me better, then why don't I do it? That's how some teams would look at it. I think there are plenty of options out there. I don't know what it's going to be.
Yeah.
I really don't.
Well, and now you hear weird talk that everything is going to be a one-year deal from here on out, and then try to go after Kevin Durant to bring him in with LeBron, and it's just like, wow.
I've never heard the Kevin Durant thing.
I just started hearing chatter about that. I go, well, okay, now I've heard that one. Not that I'm endorsing it. I just heard it today.
I don't know where you heard it, but I have not seen anything about it. If you did hear it, I'd love to know where you heard it.
Yeah, I'm not putting any money on the table with that one, but it is interesting. But we can't get ahead of ourselves. We did not just win a title, but I'll tell you what. I mean, you'd have to agree with me, Zach, that with LeBron coming back to Cleveland with that big "I'm coming home" article in Sports Illustrated, and then the commercial with Nike where he's doing it for the city, and it's they didn't mention the Cleveland curse, but I mean that's very thick in that commercial that he's doing this for the people, the city, the long-suffering fans. I mean, this really
he's doing it for himself too.
Of course he is.
He's already a legend in Akron. If he wants to be a legend in his hometown altogether and go down as the greatest of all time, this is it.
It really
This is seriously it. He had nothing left to accomplish in Miami. He's not going to win 4 more rings down there and be Jordan. It wasn't going to happen. If he wins 2 rings here, if he even wins 1 ring here, there's already the discussion of the greatest of all time. Greatest of all time.
Talk about...
If he wins this year, this is something no one has done in 51 years. 51 years, Brian. And like I said, if he does this, all is forgiven. I don't know anybody. Like I said, this is something we've discussed on the show now for 4 years.
And it's funny, Zach, because we've been here for so long on top of this story, and we didn't even know what was going to happen 3 years ago. But here we are at the center of the basketball universe with the world's best player playing for Cleveland again. It's insane.
Yeah, it really is. And the thing is, you have to take a look at this and say, we've been talking about this for a few years now. If LeBron, people who weren't willing to forgive LeBron have forgiven LeBron. Were you telling me you were looking forward to watching Andrew Wiggins and possibly Chandler Parsons or Gordon Hayward in a Cavaliers uniform this year getting eliminated in the first round of the playoffs if they made it? No. I would much rather be watching this and celebrating my ass off to LeBron James winning. It's a great story. Yeah. I'm glad he's back. I was very happy he's back. The article when he came back, I will never forget that in July. I had the chills. And I'll never forget reading that article. I had tears in my eyes thinking about it. And like I said, I'm not the most emotional guy. But when it came down to that, I was thinking, okay, Like I said, Clevelanders have a lot of pride. If you're not from Cleveland, you're never going to understand. You never will. If you are a Clevelander, it's something you'll always understand, and if you don't, then you're not a Cleveland.
And it's just this dark cloud, this shadow that's been over us our entire lives. It's past Red Right 88, the Miracle in Litchfield or Richfield. This is something that is deeply ingrained in the culture, and it's something that I think permeates people in a way that I don't think they even realize. A lot of people who are still in Ohio. I've been out of the state for a decade, so I have a little bit of a different perspective. But I can feel it. I can sense it when I'm there. Ohio's where I'm from. I love going out in the woods and open spaces and a lot of green stuff, which is very weird when you live in LA because
I will tell you
it's all
this.
brown.
I will say this, though, and after living in LA and living in Arizona, I can say this. No matter where you go, there are always Cleveland sports fans everywhere. I mean, where else? I'll never forget in college. Cleveland was one of the few teams that had a Browns backers bar that I could go to multiple ones in Tucson, Arizona on every Sunday morning at 10 o'clock, and there'd be 50 to 100 Browns fans in each one.
Love it.
It was nice to see. It gave you a sense of home while you're on the road.
Exactly.
It made me feel a lot less homesick, even though I didn't know any of these people, other than my 2 or 3 friends that I went and watched with every Sunday. I didn't know anyone else in the bar.
Yeah, if you have your jersey on,
I became friends with them because we would go to road games. I went to the Chargers game my freshman year of college in 2006. In San Diego, and I met a ton of Browns fans. My sophomore year, I went to the Cardinals game in Phoenix and saw all the Browns backers there that I knew. I saw a ton of Clevelanders I knew, a bunch of kids that moved away in middle school or high school, down at the game. We're still Browns fans. And the sense of loyalty and pride of the Clevelander is something that's unmatched by just about any city. It really is. I can't tell you, going to L.A. that people are sitting there, bleeding their team's colors, and when they suck, their true colors come out. Cleveland, our teams suck all the time. They really do, for the most part. The Browns haven't won a playoff game since 1994.
No, that's sad.
The Indians really haven't done much since 2007. When they were 1 game away from the World Series, which they would have won if they'd beaten Boston.
The Rockies.
And it's, but to think about this as close as we are right now and with how well they're playing, and now they're able to get healthy for the next 9 days, they're doing something special right now. And it's, it's this feeling that hasn't been in the air here. I don't know if ever.
We've never had the best player in that sport on our team
last night it was like the countdown to New Year's. You're sitting there waiting there in the fourth quarter at the game, and you're like, they're fouling with 3 minutes left. I'm like, get off the line, just end the game, And I'm like, just end this already. I want the celebration to happen. Like, it could not come any quicker. I was like, just come on. Each second felt like it took 5 minutes. And I'm sitting there waiting. And finally, as soon as that buzzer hit, that arena was absolutely nuts last night. It was as loud as can be in there last night.
I heard it was probably the loudest it's ever been. I don't know if they keep track of that somehow, like if there's some audible meter.
I have to say, though, this girl has sung the national anthem, I believe it's 3 times now this year, at least for games I've been to. They have a blind girl that sings the national anthem, a young girl who sings the national anthem.
I think I've seen her. If you find that online,
she's riled up the crowd. She did it for her first game was a Miami Heat game late in the season, which really felt like a playoff game where Cleveland essentially knocked the Heat out of the playoffs. And she performed in the Boston series. I wasn't at Game 5 of the Chicago series because I was out of town in Vegas, so it was the only home game I wasn't at. And she sung last night, and I have to say, the crowd has been amped all 3 times I've seen her perform, and really, really loud. Even during the anthem, she's fantastic, and it really, really just sets the crowd off.
Is it Marlena Van Hoos by chance?
That might be her name. I don't know her name, but she's fantastic. She did a great job. The crowd literally was louder than they were on opening night. It was nice to behold last night. I'm just glad I was there and able to be a part of it.
Well, here let's see if this is the girl. I've seen this before, I think. I feel like this is the same girl.
I think it is.
I feel like I shared it.
She's done a fantastic job. She riles up the crowd. And that crowd was so into it. Game 3, the crowd was very into it. But Game 4, I've never seen anything like that. I really haven't. They were so loud. They came in there all fired up. The team was fired up. They had the backing of, the team. And it's just, you saw LeBron fired up last night. In the fourth quarter, those guys were going nuts when Mike Miller was hitting shots, when Perkins posted up last night. And those guys were going crazy on the bench.
Oh, yeah. Talk about when LeBron said that he has a goal. He said, my mission was to get Joe Harris into the game. That's what he told the guys at halftime.
Yeah.
How cool is that?
Taking some serious. The whole team played last night. That's how cool it was. And, these guys all won a championship together, essentially. They all got to play in the Eastern Conference Finals. How cool is that? Everybody was involved. This is a total team effort. Don't forget where this team, don't forget how valuable J.R. Smith has been, Iman Shumpert, Timofey Mozgov. These are Knicks castaways. Phil Jackson looks like an idiot right now.
What was the knock on them for the people that don't remember with both of them?
Shumpert just had an injury. I think he just, I think it was just tough at that point. When you're playing such bad basketball, it's hard to care. And J.R. Smith, apparently, he was, not apparently, he was a team cancer in New York. He's certainly not in Cleveland. He's bought into the mentality here. People buy into LeBron. There's something special about him as a teammate. He makes all of his teammates that much better.
Was he the one? I was asking this the other day too. Was he the one that untied the dude's shoelaces at the foul line?
I believe so. Or was it JR?
I'm
trying to think if it was JR or not. Was it Delonte? I think JR did it too. I think JR did it. It doesn't matter. But JR was a head case. He always has been. He's not with the Cavaliers though. And it was nice to see though. I think he got the sense of. I think he got the sense of the team feeling when the Cavaliers, when JR, when Kevin Love went down, you brought in Perkins, JR. These guys all stood up for one another, and that's the biggest thing about being a team. And I don't know if they had some. I don't know what happened with the Kevin Love injury. I don't. I do know what happened. But I don't know what was said in that locker room. I can't tell you. But this team fought for each other. They came together, and they're playing the best basketball you could imagine. If I would have told you after the Kevin Love injury, there's 3-0 going, with Kevin Love out of the game in the first few minutes of that game, and I told you the team's going to go 9-2 over the next 11 games, what would you have told me?
I told you so. I knew it was going to happen. It's something you would not expect. I definitely lost a lot of steam, kind of like when J.T. Barrett went down for the Buckeyes. I got really sad.
I got nervous, too. I said, this is it. It's over. And
I just got nervous. I knew they had a chance, but that chance was significantly less because of what I just witnessed happen.
Once Ohio State, though, once Cardale came to the game, he started throwing bombs. You're like, okay, well, maybe we do have a chance. And then I went in with full confidence against Alabama, and I'm going in with confidence either way into the next series. I did not have this kind of confidence in 2007, nor did I have the knowledge of what I have now. Like I said, I was still a 19-year-old kid at that point, who just finished his freshman year in college.
You have a different perspective on things. I feel like I know the game so much better now. I really do.
I especially do. I really do. I know the game in a whole different light. I see it in a different way now when I'm watching it. And also Cleveland's rotations. When Cleveland went into the zone defense against the pick and roll in Atlanta, when they moved into the zone, they totally stopped Atlanta dominating. That's one of David Blatt's adjustments that they didn't get credit for. David Blatt's defensive adjustments were some of the best I've ever seen. The Cavaliers' defense throughout the playoffs was incredible. Incredible. Even the play where Derrick Rose made the bank shot, Tristan's defense at the perimeter was fantastic.
It was good defense, and if it was, I called that series in 5, and if it wasn't for that lucky shot, I would have had that too.
Well, whatever. I think it made the Cavaliers stronger because they came out in Game 4. And LeBron hit that shot, and then after that, you knew it was over. You knew they were going to the finals after
that's
that.
That's so deflating. That is so deflating for another team to be that close and just have that happen. Everything is set up for this season to be where LeBron James brings home that title for the Cavaliers. Now, my question is this: is there a team that we should be rooting for now? Or should we be a Rocket fan?
No, I think either way. If the Cavaliers, and this is what I always tell people, if you think you got the best team in the league.
It doesn't matter who you play.
You're going to beat them. You're going to beat them, and you have to have that mentality. If you're not thinking like that and you think, oh, I want Milwaukee to beat Chicago so we can play Milwaukee in the second round. If you're not good enough to beat the Bulls, you're not good enough to beat the Warriors. You're not good enough to beat the Hawks. If that's the thing. If you're not good enough to beat one team, you're not good enough to beat another.
That's a fair point.
That's what people need to understand.
But there are some teams that'll grind you down. I mean, banging into Taj Gibson and Joakim Noah. I mean, that was a very physical series, and I guess the one thing that the Cavs fan might want to root for is for this series with Golden State and Houston to be extended so that the other players are tired, more exhausted. I don't know. I guess. Who would have thought that it would be great to play Alabama and then Oregon back to back? And guess what? The Buckeyes took care of business. So, whoever comes out, I'm going to be okay with it. But Mike, I wanted to ask you too. Your most painful Cleveland sports memory out of all the things that for the past day, as everyone's putting this in a perspective now, and they're talking about Cleveland 143 years without a title, and all those times we got close but no cigar. What's the one that sticks out to you the most?
Which one? What, can you please repeat the question?
Painful Cleveland sports memory. What's the one that...
I think my most painful...
Because we've had a few... let's do this a different way.
I will say the one that upset me the most, honestly, I'm not even going to sit here and lie, was probably LeBron leaving. But my most painful was Cleveland when they lost in 97. I was just heartbroken.
95, 97, the Tribe lost. Which one of those was worse for me? I think that Florida Marlins one. I had the cigar. I still have the cigar. I have it, and I was never able to light it. You can never take something for granted until the dust is cleared. I would say LeBron leaving was just a kick in the nuts. Just something that took the wind out of me for a long time.
So that's the one I remember the most vividly, and I think that's why I remember it so well. I mean, I will say 2007 hurt. I will go with this, and just these numbers that hurt. 97 especially. 2001 hurt when they lost to the Mariners. Not like anything else, but 2007 when the Indians lost, I punched the wall. I thought I broke my hand when we lost. I was devastated when the Indians lost that series to Boston in 7. I was just devastated. That was one of the toughest ones. Another one of the toughest ones was when we lost to Orlando in 2009.
Yeah.
And when we lost, the thing was, it was
Celtics
graduation weekend in 2010 when we lost to Boston. We were down 3-2 heading back into Boston. I had the TV on at my graduation party. I could barely bring myself to watch
it. It was just a bad omen. We've lived through a lot of rough times. I mean, it's a different era when you start thinking back to Jordan's shot. That's just kind of a different era, kind of like the Bernie Kosar Browns. The 80s, early 90s. It's just a whole different thing.
I will say the recent ones hurt the most because I remember them too vividly. Like I said, I remember losing to the Marlins in the 97 World Series. I cried. But, I cried during that. I'll never forget that. But, the more recent
I threw a
memories
truck
hurt
battery. I may have thrown a truck battery out of a window. That one hurt. Like I said, I still have the cigar. You know what? How about this? When the Cavaliers win this title, I will smoke that cigar. I don't know if it's safe to smoke a.
Put it in a humidor for a couple of weeks.
Oh, okay. I'll go in my humidor room. All right. Well,
Brian, or you could just have it and you can put it by, you can put it by the shower.
No, I think I should do that. I'll go up to,
just try it out.
I'll go up to the smoke shop. Go up to the smoke shop. Just like, hey, can you throw this? It's probably like a $2 cigarello or something from the gas station. But yeah, I would love to enjoy that cigar with the Cleveland Cavaliers victory. What did you make of the hot tub celebration or a cold tub?
That was hilarious.
It was goofy. It was pretty funny. I enjoyed it. What do you make of the fact that Kevin Love wasn't in there? No, I'm just kidding. I'm not going to do that. All right. Well, I don't know, man. I looked this up, by the way. It was J.R. Smith untying Sean Marion's shoe during a free throw.
Another teammates.
Go figure. Yeah, I've just been so impressed with J.R. Smith, with Deli, with Tristan. And it's not like we're a better team without Kevin Love, but I think we are getting the right contributions with the replacements where in some ways we might be better on the offensive boards, fill in the blanks, but I don't know. I feel like this is a team of destiny. I certainly hope that proves to be true. And I don't know. We'll just watch it as it goes, Zach. I mean, how excited are you for the finals? Do you like that there's 9 days off?
No.
You think that they should be? Let's say that the Warriors win today. You think that they should be able to bump it up, or it just is what it is?
They can't bump it up. Don't forget, you have concerts, you have scheduled events at these venues. You have to keep it what it is. So it's not being moved up. Final schedule set in stone. It is what it is.
Yeah, that's true. That's 20,000 people. If you got Tim McGraw coming and playing your venue, he's not going to just not go because you want to play a basketball game. It is tricky, but no, I'll say if anything, if there are people out there that are worried that we might lose momentum on the NBA in this downtime, I wouldn't think that that's even remotely possible. I think you're just going to get more of those fluff pieces by ESPN talking about what it means for LeBron to come home and bring home a title. Do you think the country is going to root for the underdog Cleveland team?
People, for some reason, always root against Cleveland, so I don't expect it, and I don't care what people root for. I just care what I root for, and that's it. That's all I care about.
Yeah, no, I'm not going to lose sleep over it, but I'm legitimately curious because I tend to root for the team that hasn't won in the longest. It's like, well, hey, the other team, the Patriots have been there, such and such, this is their first time. I'll root for the new guy. That'd be cool. You think most of the country would still root against Cleveland just because, for some reason?
People love rooting against Cleveland. People hate Cleveland for some reason. People still hate LeBron. So, yeah, people are going to root against the Cavs. I don't care, though. Yeah. I really don't. As long as Clevelanders root for Cleveland, that's all I care about. And, like I said, we'll all be able to enjoy this together. Last night leaving that arena, we didn't leave the arena until 35, 40 minutes after the game ended. We were there for the celebration. It was pretty nuts. And then I have to say today, and then last night, I've never heard more horns honking in my life.
Do you think there's any sort of letdown that Cleveland celebrated a little too much in the cold tub and with the confetti?
No, it was worth the celebration last night. It's not like we were sitting there celebrating a championship. We're celebrating a trip to the championship.
Right.
It's something Cleveland deserves to celebrate, and they're allowed to. I went out last night, and it was a blast. I was shocked I made it into work this morning at 9 o'clock.
Did you happen to catch what David Blatt said to LeBron? He said, "You earned this. I think it's a big deal what you did coming back here for this city, and you deserve this. So you earned this. Enjoy this," or something like that. Did you happen to catch that?
No, I did not catch that.
Yeah, they had him mic'd, and he pulled LeBron over and said that, and I thought it was a really nice moment. Who knows if he knew he was on camera or if he had the mic on or however they do that. But you know what? Whatever the case may be, that was. LeBron said that this is a special moment, coming from where we were at the beginning of the year, that this is a very special moment. I have full faith and confidence that LeBron is not going to allow this team to over-celebrate or get cocky. I think that they all know that the real job is starting soon.
This series just ended. Dwight Howard picked up his, another technical foul tonight. If it doesn't get rescinded, he's suspended for Game 6 if there is a Game 6. So it's over.
That guy just can't stay out of trouble.
By the way, another thing is, too, which I'm not taking anything into account about this game. Houston has had one of the worst rebounding games I have ever seen. They're only collecting 52% of defensive rebounds right now. As far as I'm concerned, Golden State has 12 offensive rebounds. They're going to win this game. It's not going to happen against Cleveland. Cleveland's one of the best rebounding teams in the league.
Yeah, go figure. We've turned into this defensive juggernaut, and I tell you what, it couldn't have come at a better time because you hear it said so many different times over so many different sports that defense wins championships. So. All right. Well, hey, you know what? We'll just press pause. I don't know when the next time we're going to have information. Of course, if the Warriors win this one, we could do an update after that. But yeah, we're going to have quite a little bit of time between now.
Like I said, maybe we can do a finals preview or something. Go through the matchups next week. But
yeah, and we got to do a draft show too.
If the Warriors do not win tonight, they'll win the
Okay, yeah, because of the
It'll
Dwight
only go a
Howard
maximum
thing.
of 6 games. It's a 6-game series, worst case scenario.
Gotcha.
So you'll see a Cavs-Warriors finals unless something weird happens.
And in the last 30 seconds before we get going, when is the draft? That's coming up real soon. When do we want to do that draft preview?
I believe it's the end of June, so
we have
can do it
time.
in a couple of weeks.
Okay, perfect. All right, well, Zach, I'll let you go, man.
Do it after the finals.
Yeah, hey, you know what? Maybe we'll do the show. I'll bring the gear and we'll do it live from Cleveland. We'll broadcast the unhappy hour as the happy hour from Cleveland. That would be a lot of fun. I'll start thinking about that. But yeah, hey, thanks for joining us after a long night yesterday. Go Cavs. I'm really excited for this team, perhaps more so than any other sports team that I've seen in my lifetime, having the best player in the league. And I certainly hope it works out. Zach, appreciate your time. We'll do this again soon. And for everybody out there listening over here on the TNAM Radio Network, check out our homepage, thenewamericanmedia.com. On there you'll find where you click play and listen to our shows live, our Twitter feed at American_media_, and you can also subscribe, youtube.com/thenewamericanmedia. So for everybody here at the TNAM Radio Network and Zak Baris, follow him at ZBaris, that's ZBARIS. I appreciate you, I love you, and peace.
And this is John B. Wells reminding you that not only is Brian Engelman a cool guy, and not only is the newamericanmedia.com a very cool platform, but here's a cool idea for you, too. Are you alone? Not really. Do you like dogs? Do you like cats? You do. Of course you do. Everybody does. One or the other, maybe even both. You know, there are a lot of dogs and cats that are at shelters right now, and if somebody doesn't take them home, they're going to wind up euthanized. That's a nice way of saying they're going to be killed, because there's simply not enough room. I guarantee it, the best dogs and the best cats, the best pets come from shelters. There's something about dogs and cats. They know. They know where they are. You walk through one of them, and certainly at least one is going to look at you and go, I wish you'd take me home. I'm in hell. Please take me out of here. It'll be the best thing that you ever did for your soul. You'll feel good about it. And not only that, but you have a friend for life. Doesn't matter if you got money, you don't have money. Well, it doesn't make any difference to a dog or cat. All they need is the sound of your voice and maybe even the stroke of your hand, and they're fine. Maybe a little food every once in a while. The sweetest sound that those pets ever hear is your voice. Think it over and adopt a cat or a dog from a local shelter today. I'm telling you, you'll be glad you did.